this challenge was pretty much where it all began. I started this challenge completely on a whim.
I am Melania,
I had no idea what I was getting into.
and I have never known defeat.
And yet, I succeeded. Let me tell you the story of how I beat Elden Ring Without Dying. First thing I had to do was choose a class. There were only two options that were really viable for this challenge, and those were the Samurai and the Bandit. I mostly chose the Samurai over the Bandit because it had the better stats for the build that I was going to do. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This run's technically impossible. And yes, it is impossible to beat the first enemy without dying. If you beat the enemy, the game will just force you over the edge and you'll fall to your death. However, there's a very simple way around this. Just don't win. That's it. That's the strat. All you have to do is get your butt handed to you, and you will not actually die. You will be brought down to 1 HP, and then the cutscene will immediately start. So this is the only fight where we are not allowed to win, which is a very good thing, because I don't. So yeah, that part was easy, but you know what was hard? Enduring the setup. Every time, it would just take so long. It'd be like an hour before I could even start a normal fight. And my first fight would be the one and only fight that I would use with the weapon that I start with, because we're fighting for his weapon, the Bloodhound Fang. The Bloodhound Fang requires Somber Smithing Stones to upgrade, so it's a lot easier to upgrade it up to a really high level before I even have to fight Godric. And fight Godric I do, guys, it was ugly. It was not close. He's Godric, come on. And this is the part where the run gets scary. Precisely at this moment. Oh my god. This guy, without fail, every single time I would go up to him, it would happen. I did not die to him once, but I don't know if I ever actually managed to get through that fight without getting parried. It was terrifying.
Nope, I got parried.
So yeah, compared to that, Ronaldo wasn't very difficult at all. All I did is make sure that I had a good defense against magic, and I buffed my sword, which increased how much bleed damage I did, and that made the fight very quick. Radahn, on the other hand, I had a big, elaborate plan set out just for him. I go and get a bow, which increases my poison damage, and grab the butterflies we need to craft rot arrows. And since we get an entire army to fight Radahn for us, we can just shoot him with these two status effects until he dies. It might take a while, but I'm too scared of those swords to go near him, so that's what's gonna happen. This is the one and only fight we can afford to be so passive in. Every other one, you pretty much have to be in their face.
When it's over, we got him.
Hey, so you remember when I was complaining at the beginning when there was so much setup? Yeah, this is part 2. Because I'm heading underground to go get Mimicked here, going to say hi to Ronnie, and then head towards underground again to collect a bunch of upgrades. And now our weapon is now at +9, making us ready to fight the next boss. I never really understood why people don't like using bows in Elden Ring. Like, everyone uses the bow to shoot Radahn with rot arrows, but Radahn's not the only one Rot's good against. I hit Morgott with both Rot and Poison before I start the second phase and start whacking him with my sword, inflicting a bleed proc. Overall, he's not too tough. Every boss from here on out is going to be very strong, and the next 4 are going to be very important fights. So the next 4 bosses all have one very important detail in common. They are extremely resistant to fire. Why does this matter? Well, there's a specific build that I want to do, but it relies on fire damage, which isn't ideal against, say, Fire Giant. So for now, the Bloodhound Fang is still the better weapon. There's not actually much to talk about for the Fire Giant fight. I just whacked him a lot. I push on to the Godskin duo, but...
Alright, here's the strat. You just walk sideways. That's it. That's how you deal with this.
I have a bleed build, so...
It's not that difficult, guys.
They weren't hard. I saved Rykard for this moment because he's just annoying to get to, but he's not a hard fight. You just use the weapon that's given to you, and with Meritir, I have 2 of them. So Rykard was just as easy as you would expect. However, next was Mog, and that was gonna be a problem. Because if I'm going up against a very difficult boss with a slightly underwhelming build, I want to go and prepare. And because I wanted to prepare, I needed to run around the map. And because I was running around the map, I got bored. And because I got bored and I was running around the map, I got distracted.
Careful with land sacks! Careful with land sacks! Thanks for the heads up! I didn't even mess up the grid!
As dramatic as I wasn't really scared. I figured, hey, it'd be a walk in the park compared to what I've just been through. This'll be easy.
No! This is not happening. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. This is not worth it. You are not worth it. I'm going home. That was 75% of my HP in one hit.
And moments before I was about to fight Mog, one of my viewers gave me an incredible suggestion.
How about the Ice Crest Shield? Oh, that's a great plan. You are so right.
The fight was going extremely well, but at one point, my bleed meter got all the way up to 99%, meaning that if I hadn't equipped the shield, I would have taken a massive chunk of damage due to bleed. And on top of that, Mog would gain an insane power boost.
Oh, yeah. This shield came in clutch.
This one tiny little suggestion from chat saved me from what could have very well have been a complete utter wipe against a very difficult boss. It was time for a new build. So the build basically functions like this. Out and about, you have the Blasphemous Blade, which heals you every time you kill an enemy. It's very hard to die. And when you're up against a boss or a major enemy, you will have time to prepare to buff yourself. And if you know anything about Elden Ring, then you know where this is going. I stacked them. The Golden Vow, Ash of War. The Flame grants me Strength Incantation. The Shard of Alexander. The Ritual Sword Talisman. And for defense, the Ritual Shield Talisman, or if I'm feeling lucky, for offense I equip the Fire Scorpion Charm. And to give you an idea of just how strong this was...
Oh boy, I just him up.
Even though I had such an incredibly strong build, I could not lower my guard. I made sure to kill these little imprisoned enemies because they summon the spirits that are the most dangerous single enemy in the entire run. And after avoiding that encounter, I begin the fight with Commander Niel. The fight begins with me outnumbered, and I quickly change those odds by using a consumable item. Phase 1 ends by either Niel taking too much damage, or by his allies both dying. And both of those are going to happen very quickly when they're fighting each other. Despite all of this planning and training, every single one of Niel's combos has potential to wipe me out immediately, ending the run. But with the power of this fire build, I quickly end the fight.
This is popping.
As we move on to her.
Guys, I have a problem.
But before we do, we go into the game's most dangerous area. Most no-death runs never even see this field. And for good reason. There are the most dangerous enemies here.
Holy. No, no, no. No, no, I'm not dying now. You get the out of here with you and your goddamn wolf.
You can't let your guard down for even 1 second.
You thought you were going to end this? You thought wrong!
And to even get to the area where Melania resides, you must go through the most grueling ever jail. This is the part of the run that had the most people concerned because of the invisible assassins waiting right beside the objectives. Unfortunately, the best strategy is also the most boring one. You just run past them, completely ignore them. That's it. That's the strat. Finally, we get through this area and we're out of the snowfields and on to Millennia. Because Loretta was a pushover. The anticipation for this fight was incredible. I could not find a single other no-death run that even attempted to fight Millennia. It took me 61 attempts to beat her for the first time, and that was pretty much average. And I was feeling pretty good. I was in high spirits. Perhaps a little too high.
I look like Lord Farquaad, okay? Tell me I don't. Tell me that doesn't. No, come on. That's Lord Farquaad. That's Lord Farquaad.
But I had crafted a very thorough plan for Millennia, and my build was structured to perfection. I wore a medium equip load so that I could equip my Fire Scorpion charm. Remember this detail, it's going to be important. And so, nervous and excited, the battle that you never see in a no-death run began.
I am Melania, Blade of Mikola, and I have never known defeat.
And for the first time, neither have I.
It was in this exact moment my mind processed information faster than language could even comprehend it. I knew that this was the worst case scenario. I ran out of stamina when I got hit in the first wave of attacks. I knew I had to be disciplined and not dodge the second waves of attacks. I needed enough stamina to dodge the final blow, so I took the second wave of attacks to do this.
It's fine.
Let the record go and show that this was the exact moment that I got good. So I threw my plan to the wind and stripped off all of my armor just so that I could have that light roll.
Whoops. Probably should just throw another ash. I'll look ridiculous. I need to calm down before the boss fight, but that was funny.
You know, I sound really amused and laid back in this scene, but inside, I was panicking. The Lord Farquaad memes had surprised me to the point where I was laughing uncontrollably.
Lord Farquaad will become Elden Lord.
Melania is out here trying to show me what true horror means, and I am just bent over. And that's a problem. I was literally slapping myself trying to regain my composure before the cutscene ended. Because damn it, I was Lord Farquaad, and I had never known defeat.
Okay. I'm not even the target! Okay, I was the target a little bit.
Your strength. Extraordinary. The mark of a true lord.
And I have never known defeat.
For the first time in a no-death run, I had defeated Millennia. And you know what? Throughout this entire challenge, I did not lose to Melania
I finally
once.
I had 12 resistance for that fight.
But you know, in a very strange way, Melania is not the scariest boss of the run. I mean, think about it. If I lost to the boss right after Melania, I would have to redo the entire run and beat Melania first try
I love
again.
This dragon. He killed a bird for me.
And the boss, right after Melania, is Malikin! Nearly every boss in this game has some weakness though, and Malikat's, his only weakness is that he doesn't have a huge pool of HP. He is absolutely insane. His moveset might be even harder to track than Melania's. I knew if I wanted to win this fight, I would have to be picture perfect.
Alright, that went perfectly. Oh, yeah. Mimic tier, would you like to do the honors? Actually, he's struggling. Oh, no, he got it done! Good job, Mimic tier! You managed to do it without dying, too! I'm proud of you!
And that little comment about Mimic Tier not dying made me realize something. He hasn't died once either. And just how cool would it be if Mimic Tier could also complete the no death run? And with only 2 bosses left, no, I did not stutter. It was starting to look like Lord Farquaad was going to unironically take the Elden Throne.
Every second we step closer to Elden Lord Farquaad. I have mixed feelings on this because yeah, this is the furthest I've gotten. By no small measure, I've beaten Millennia, I've beaten Bog, I've beaten every single demigod without dying, but I look like Lord Farquaad because of the that I didn't get sliders for a character. So, yeah, Elden Ring Farquaad might happen very now actually. Holy shit.
The only thing in my way was an absolute chat of a boss.
I appreciate he's buffing. Wait, that's a cloud, that's a cloud. Get in the cloud.
Not only was I on my game, but so was Mimic Tier. Even though this boss is one of the hardest in the game, with my fire build and Mimic Tier, he didn't even stand a chance.
Tarnished. Thy strength befits a crown.
But there was a problem. You see, for whatever reason, the final boss has the final fight on a pit of water. Why? I don't know. But what I do know is fire is not very good on water, so I needed to come up with something. So I went to Renala and did my thing. I could talk another 5 minutes about how I changed my build, or I can just show you what I came up with. And it might not look different at all because there's the same weapon just sitting there, but I had a plan.
I knew it. I knew that I had it back with you, boy.
Now the plan was
we
to
gotta
switch
stagger
weapons
in.
from the Blasphemous Blade to the Bloodhound's Fang. But this blade has been doing so well, maybe, just maybe, it can do well even in the water. I needed to see at least a little bit if it was...
9.
Okay, yeah, no. And I wish I could tell you this incredible story of a legendary battle, but let's be honest, Elden Beast kinda sucks. And after everything I had been through, carefully planning out my entire
Backwards for
adventure
this.
and beating the most difficult bosses all in a single life without once seeing that death screen, the final boss doesn't deserve the final boss music. He was a victory lap. Because finally, after 198 days and 20 attempts,
we have defeated Elden Ring without dying once.
But then something unexpected happened.